What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you tonight with more Danmachi, and today we're going to be talking about these banners. Before you summon, because you know we've got these new banners coming in tonight. We still have the Kino event for another week or so, but we've got all new banners incoming, and we want to talk about this because I know a lot of people want to save their iris. We've got the US anniversary incoming, we've got the third anniversary for the game incoming here in a couple of months, and I know a lot of people are like, if you're free to play, you want to know, where do I want to put my iris? Well, I'm gonna warn you right now, you probably are going to be interested in this banner. You can already see why, but let us start off by talking about this banner. We'll get to that at the end of the video. We're going to get to the super attacks. I actually have all the super attacks for y'all. So if you want to see that, that is at the end of the video. And right now, if you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you hit the little thumbs up button. Helps the channel out greatly. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay up to date with all this. Let's get down to it. Let's talk about the new incoming eyes. Okay? As you can see, Eyes' stats are actually pretty good. Not what I'd call groundbreaking, but pretty decent. Skill 1 for Eyes is a foes, plural, fast, low thunder physical attack with ultra encounter rate and 35% stun chance. Now, when that's foes, plural, and 35% stun chance, basically everybody on the team has a 35% chance to be stunned. Good, but once again, not really what I would call groundbreaking, and probably not a skill you're honestly ever really going to use. Stun is good, but the problem with stun is it only lasts for one turn. So unless you are the first attacker in that turn, which she actually has a lot of agility, so that would help. Unless she's the first attacker in that turn, and being a fast skill, will help out in that. It doesn't, it's not, she basically is going to have to be the first person to attack for that to be any good. But 35% stun is just a hair better than 25%, which means each person she attacks gets that 35% chance. So, on average, you could probably say she'll probably stun 1 out of the 4. I know how great that really is. And honestly, I just don't see it as something you're going to use too permanently unless you are building an ailment team. And even if you're building an ailment team, I think there's better, especially assists you could use out there. Now, Skill 2 is a foe's singular high thunder physical attack with ultra on guard rate for every single target damage up debuff on the enemy. Skill damage plus 40%. I think I said strength yesterday. I always get the ST and the STR messed up. But single target damage debuff on the enemy, she gets skill damage plus 40%. But notice she doesn't get any other buffs. She doesn't buff herself. So you'd have to buff her up before you do that. And it's weird that being the high thunder, because the super thunder is skill 3. Super thunder physical attack with ultra penetration rate. Ultra critical rate and temporary strength boost. Single target and AoE damage plus 20% for 4 turns. And then, once you do the super thunder attack, then you'd have to go back and do the high thunder attack with the skill damage. And the skill damage isn't turn-based. The skill damage is literally just in that one turn. It makes more sense for that to be the super attack. But if I'm completely honest here, the way I'm looking at Eyes, and this is how I'm looking at this unit, I look at Eyes like a sack unit. Somebody you're going to put the anklet on, you're going to pull her in there, you're going to do skill 3, and then you're going to hit her the hell out of the way. That's it. She's going to be gone. Move on. She does have counter damage plus 50%. Her special arts is a foe's, plural, ultra thunder physical attack with ultra penetration and temporary strength boost with a 70% chance to stun. Okay? And this is a foe's, plural with 70% chance. That's actually going to be your better stun effect. But I just don't see myself keeping her in the game that long, personally. None of her other skills really make her worthwhile. So the way I see Eyes being used, and the only way I see her being used, is the same way we use Galamus. You basically put the swap anklet on her, bring her in, have her do the single target and AoE damage debuff, and then get her out. You know, that's the only way I really see her being useful. Personally, my opinion. Now, if you care to differentiate, absolutely put your comment in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear any arguments on that, but me personally, I just don't see her any other way. Let's talk about Cassandra, because Cassandra is the other adventure on this banner. Cassandra is her first skill is a foe singular high thunder magic attack with alter on guard rate, and for every magic resistance debuff on the enemy, skill damage plus 25%. Now, notice that whenever we got new units, their skills were always like 1, 2, 3, or okay, not always, but the last year or so, their skills were always like 1, 2, 3, go, and you just do that over and over again. Now they're really making you think about it. Now, we've had some early units in the game, and I think even like, I won't say pre-US version, but it's been probably a while, a good year, since we've had units that have really made you have to think about how you're going to build their stacks. So, skill 1 is not going to be the first skill you're going to use. Just interesting notation on that, okay? Skill 2 is a foe's plural, Super Thunder magic attack with ultra uncounter rate and temporary magic boost and allies 50% chance to null physical attack. I love this. Absolutely love that attack. And the reason I do is because when you're in something like Wargame, that can be a game changer. Every single time she does that attack, everybody on the team basically flips a coin and they go boom. Okay, it's heads. You're nullifying one physical attack. It's tails. Sorry, buddy, you're getting hit. Those of us that have been abusing the Chloe assist from back in the day know how absolutely clutch that can be, especially when it's not just every time Chloe comes into play, but every turn. That could be a game changer for some War Games teams. That really could. I'm not going to say she's the greatest, but I'm going to say if you're really into like basically turtling when it comes to War Game, if you're got like defense strong teams, probably not a terrible idea, but just be aware of the limitations of that, because being 50% chance, there's easily just as many chances as you could have the whole team go ha-ha as the whole team go what was the point in that? So do bear that in mind. Skill 3 is a fast strength magic, magic resistance, physical resistance, and thunder resistance, minus 25% for 2 turns. I love that debuff. Love that debuff. That's 5 things, all being nullified, 25%, and that's a really good debuff. That's a good debuff for someone that's got 2 or 3 skills. To have 5 skills debuffing like that is insane. Insane, y'all. So, I utterly love that. Definitely love that. Her special arts. Foes, plural, Ultra Thunder magic attack with Ultra penetration rate and magic boost and magic resistance with temporary magic boost and magic resistance minus 50% for 2 turns. That special arts could be a game changer if you've built a magic team. Once she gets that special arts off, everyone's taking insane magic damage. So, as much as I could definitely see her being a debuff sack, having skill 2 and that special arts could make her extremely useful. Basically, if I were to be using her for whatever reason, I'd probably go, depending upon the fight, skill 3, skill 2, and then when you do the special arts, do that, and then go back to skill 2. Now, again, if you're in a single target situation, like, Wrecker Buster, Familiar Rush, something like that, you could use skill 1, absolutely. But you definitely got to get skill 3 out first. So skill 3 and then spam skill 1. So she's one of those I definitely would like to, and I feel like the Wrecker Buster incoming tonight is going to have a little bit of thunder resistance, because that's usually the way that works. I feel like light probably is going to be her main, but thunder will probably be like a sideline, or maybe the two will be even. Hard to call, but it'll be interesting to see the way she works with that skill damage 25%. Now, bear in mind, one thing to do keep in mind here is that she's debuffing. She's solely a debuffer. So the skill damage 25% isn't going to do anything unless you've got somebody to buff her. So you really need to run her with a buffer to get that single target damage. But, once again, if you are just using her to turtle, skill 3, skill 2, and then specialize whenever you can isn't a bad combo. Not groundbreaking by any stretch, but not bad. Though I will say her debuff is amazing. But, that's my opinion on that. Mikoto! Mikoto is allies, guard, and counter rate plus 15%. Slow resist 100%. And you guys know we just got a ton of units that did slow recently. Here's your unit. And I called it. I said eventually we're going to get a unit to nullify that. Here's our unit to nullify that. The only downside is I would really kind of thought she'd come out of the gate with more agility. That disappoints vaguely, slightly. If they swapped those two stats, she got the 433 in agility, I'd be extremely happy. I think that, to me, I think that would be a game changer, personally. But that's my 2 cents on the matter. So, Mikoto, good. I do love the guard and counter rate 15%. I really, really do like that. Because if you've ever watched, I almost always use Orna on my Hajime. And that's just to give her that big counter rate buff. This would almost be, I won't say a replacement for her by any stretch, but it definitely wouldn't be a bad unit to run in your team, because then everybody's going to get that counter rate and going to get that guard rate. So, I don't know what to tell you there. Am I excited for her? Not really, but I do see her uses. Hard call that. On some respects, I really like her, and on some respects, I'm kind of slightly disappointed by the numbers. So, with Mikoto, it's going to totally come down to how you use her and the team you're going to put her on. So, hard call that. Very, very hard call that. But I'm 50-50 on her. Now, I know everybody's going to want to see this banner. Here it is. Let's start off by talking about, of course, about Hajime. And first of all, look at those numbers. That magic stat is ridiculous. Hajime is, once again, busted. I think the developers, honestly, she's just the favorite character of the developers. There's just no other option at this point. Haruhime's skill 1 is a self, magic, dex, and light damage plus 60%. Allies, magic, dex, and light damage 30%. So she buffs herself 60%, buffs everyone 30%. Now, that is light damage, and most everyone else that I said already needs buffs is thunder, so don't get too excited. But the dex buff is nice. Very nice. Yeah, I'm going to be MLBing this unit. I'm 100% going to be MLBing this unit. There's no questions about it. Skill 2 is foe singular. Remove all strength, magic, and agility buffs except assist skills. Single target damage plus 20% for 4 turns. Now, we've already seen units that buff single target damage. So, I don't know how useful that is, but the removing strength and magic. So, normally when we get a unit that removes strength buffs, they just remove strength buffs. We've had a couple units that remove magic buffs. They just remove magic buffs. We've had 1, maybe 2 units that remove strength and magic. We have never had a unit that removes strength, magic, and agility. So, your ability to buff your strength is gone, your ability to buff your magic is gone, and your ability to, to get your turns out before mine, that's gone. Dude, I love that. That is so unbelievably busted. Then we get to skill 3. Now, skill 3 is an MP 136, which tells me you're probably going to have to run this Haruhime with the Winter Haruhime. Because you're going to need someone that's going to buff her MP. Now, she does have a little bit, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But skill 3. Super light magic attack. For every magic buff on self, skill damage plus 40%, allies 20% HP regen for 1 turn. Now, if you're running the other Haruhimes, that then becomes 20% HP regen for as long as that buff stays in play. Ha ha ha. Now, 136 MP means basically unless you have her MLB'd, you're not going to have enough magic to really do that more than your fair share of times. But yeah, for every magic buff on self, skill damage plus 40% is going to be busted. Considering she already gets 60%, you're basically turning that into 100% buff. And if you have the other Haruhime, basically if you build a full Haruhime team, and you get the essays off, you're going to have 100% magic and 100% light damage. You're going to have infinite MP, and you're going to have this one hitting like a truck. Yeah, kind of crazy that. Special arts for this Haruhime is Foe Singular. Now, that is worth noting. All her skills are Foe Singular, so she is not going to be good. Like I said yesterday, I thought she'd be fairly decent for Wargame, but that's just because that self buff. I'd forgotten that every single skill she has is Foe Singular. Foe Singular, ultralight magic attack. That isn't to say people aren't going to use her anyway. People are going to make Haruhime meme teams. As soon as we get that 4th Haruhime, it's done. Meme teams are going to be a thing. Foe Singular, ultralight magic attack. For every magic buff on self, and that actually, it says for every magic buff on self. I have tried this, and it always seems, unless they fix it, it always seems like it works even if it's not a self buff. For every magic buff on self, which probably means every magic buff applied to her, skill damage plus 80%. So you want an assist that actually buffs magic applied to this unit. Skill damage plus 80% and allies 40% HP regen and light damage. I was absolutely certain this was wrong. Absolutely certain this was wrong, and I've been told numerous times this is not wrong. Allies at the end of this essay get 40% HP regen and light damage plus 80% for 3 turns. So run her on a light team and you are never, ever going to run out of... I mean, like, basically she takes the light team and goes, okay, pick you up, there you go, on this pedestal where you belong. Instead of buffing the whole light team, they just buffed one unit. We're like, let's just set them over here. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully y'all are happy now. That's what she just did to the light team, pretty much. Pull them up by the bootstraps, set them on the pedestal. They're not number 1, but they can now finish. That's pretty awesome. Now, interesting, her passive. Her passive is an 8% HP and MP per turn. Now, 8% doesn't sound like a lot, and it isn't a lot. But unless you've got the other Haruhime that does the MP buff, you're not going to be spamming that skill 3. That said, look at these numbers and tell me she's not absolutely tempting. Also, it's worth noting she counters for 50% damage, so this Haruhime is busted in every way. That's why I said I was doing this banner, last, because I know y'all are going to want to summon on this banner. This is just the banner to summon on, mostly because Haruhime. In fact, I'm really tempted to, just wail for Haruhime and not worry about much of anybody else, if I'm completely frank with my intentions. But let's continue on. Let's talk about Daphne. Daphne, special art. So, no, we're doing skill 1 first. Skill 1, Foe Singular, High Thunder Physical Attack with Ultra Critical Rate for every strength buff on self, skill damage plus 25%. That's 24. 5. So for every strength buff, she gets skill damage 25%. Skill 2, Foes Plural, Super Thunder Physical Attack with Ultra Penetration and Temporary Strength Boost, and allies 50% chance to null a magic attack. Now, we did have the unit that the Cassandra does strength, or physical attacks. Then we've got Daphne, who does magic attacks. It's like they come as a pair. Yeah. So that is actually pretty awesome. I am a big fan of that. We basically, if you've got them on a team and you've got them consistently doing this essay, or I say this essay, this skill, you're going to be nullifying attacks in, out, and everywhere. It does feel like they're trying to really buff magic for all events going forward, because magic really never got the love that the other skills got. So, say physical has always been king. The magic is good, but you know, if you fought any kind of like war game type situation, you know that whenever a lot of people like debuff the crap out of physical. So that's what most people use. And then when a magic unit comes in, which I've started using a lot of magic units on my wargame team, because when they come in, they're just like, BAM! And there's half your health gone. If she can nullify that hit, hey, you got it. You got it. And the best part is, that's, like, I won't say it stacks. It doesn't stack. But if you can go a couple of turns before a magic attack happens, guess what? She could just keep doing that attack. Units keep flipping the coin, and eventually it's going to get everybody on the team. So there, like, you've got Familia Rush, those types of situations where you've got units that sometimes do magic, sometimes do physical. Could be clutch. Could be clutch. I just want to play devil's advocate with this skill because I think it's a good skill. Though, if I'm completely honest, it's not groundbreaking, and I don't think it's as important as the physical one. Personally, my opinion. But be aware, magic is kind of always trying to make a comeback in the game, so you never know. Skill 3, allies. Fast, strength, magic, thunder. Strength, magic, thunder. Physical resistance, magic resistance, plus 25% for 2 turns. Remember, Daphne debuffed all those on your foe. She buffs them all up. And 25% for an ally is actually a really good buff. 5 elements, 25% is an excellent buff. So if you have units that, we've talked about quite a few units in this game, or in these banners, that need buffs, there you go. She's going to be buffing them, and Cassandra's going to be debuffing them. Basically, if you're running, if you run one, you kind of got to run the other. It's not necessary, but it's kind of your best possible scenario. Unless you're going solid buff or solid debuff. But I just see the two of them working so well together. Double S stats across the board. Extremely good unit. But once again, she's not going to be a damage monster. She's just going to be a solid unit with a lot of useful skills. Special arts. Foes, plural. Ultra Thunder physical attack with Ultra Unguard rate and temporary strength boost. Physical resist, minus 50% for 2 turns. Remember, Cassandra did magic resist, minus 50% for 2 turns. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. They're just, like, literally, one is physical, one is magic, one is buff, one is debuff. They're literally opposites, and they work so well together. It's going to be amazing. Let's talk about our final unit on here, Lily. Lily is going to be the assist on this banner. She does foes, and I want to go back to Mikoto here in just a second to talk about something with her. Foes, plural. Heal, physical resist, magic resist, and thunder resist, minus 15%. So, basically, yeah, she's just going to debuff, like, everything you need for this team. That is going to be really, really, really nice. I have a really good thunder buffer. I needed a thunder debuffer, and there you go. The fact that she does physical and magic, minus 15%. I mean, she basically does... She does everything that's really important for this team to survive, and if you're building a Thunder Wargame team, you're going to want that heal down because so many people heal. I feel like, I don't think it's quite enough to be the Hajime team breaker, but I think she's going to do an excellent job either way. So, I do like Lily. I'm probably going to chase that unit, but I'm not probably going to go too crazy. Now, before we get too excited here, I do want to specify that 15% is only when she's MLB'd. She will most likely be 10% at level 60. And until you get all of the bonds in her, she's then going to unlock the 15%. Same with Mikoto. If we go back over to Mikoto, she does 15% guard and counter rate. So if you don't have her MLB'd, it will probably be 10%. And the slow resist will probably be like 75%. So do bear that in mind with assists, as they only get to that max stat when they're fully bonded. Until then, they usually have about 2/3 of that stat. So check your expectations at the door. You do have to MLB, and there's a huge difference between fully bonded assists and assists that are only +3, +4. There's a major difference in the way assists work once they're fully bonded. So if you're going after an assist, you almost have to go after them to MLB. Just having them for collection purposes is really kind of not any good. So let's just check that expectation. But you guys have waited long enough. Let's watch the special attack here and see what's up with this. All right. That's very, very loud. Now, I wouldn't pay attention to the numbers here. The numbers aren't the important part. Because they're probably not fully bonded, if I'm honest. And probably not upgraded. Plus, you notice there's no debuffs on Mamma Mia. Alright. So there you go. That's the essay. I apologize. It was way too loud in the beginning. So many apologies to my headphones users. But that is going to be the video. Yeah. Let me know what y'all thought of that. I am pretty happy with all that. I mean, it's, once again, I wouldn't pay too close attention to the numbers. Plus, if I'm completely honest, they probably should have done their essay stack differently. But, you know, it was just to showcase the essays, and they look kind of mostly hilarious. So, yeah. There you guys go. That be the video. Let me know what y'all thought in the comment section down below. Banner number 1. Banner number 2. I really think this one's going to be the one that I'm going to be going after, because I really want Lily, but more than anything else, I'm going to MLB Hajime, and other than that, I'm really not certain. Mikoto and Daphne are going to be really good. I'm sorry, Mikoto. Looking at Mikoto. Cassandra and Daphne are going to be really good. But I just don't know if I... And the thing is, for what I think Cassandra more than anybody else, because what she debuffs is amazing. Like, debuffing all that is going to be awesome. If you've got a Thunder team, you're going to want her debuffs more than anything else. But as far as the rest, I just, like, Haruhime's number 1, Cassandra's number 2, and Lily's number 3, my opinion. But that is going to be the video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Comment, share, and subscribe. Follow my Birdman. Hit me up on Booker. Links are in the description down below. I'll catch y'all on the next one. And tonight's live stream. Don't forget live stream at 9 p.m. this evening.